investors. Guys, I'm glad you joined us this weekend. We have a packed show lined up for you today. We're going to answer some questions, plan your portfolios. Of course, Virendra is going to be in the studio as well to help us do that. Remember, there's an email ID at the bottom of your screen where you can write to us and send in the details of your investments, and it will be our pleasure to answer your questions on the show. Let's get straight to it. This is what we're doing in the next half hour. First up, can you make a plan for your child's education if you only have 3 years to go? Find out how you can start setting money aside and invest it today. Are the monsoons, bad roads and bad traffic leaving your car with scratches and broken bumpers? Find out how you can get an insurance policy to cover those damages and how you can make those claims. We'll also review the HSBC India Opportunities Fund. All of that coming up later on the show. It's time to introduce Virendra Kumar, our special guest, the CEO of Value Research. He's also our in-house mutual fund expert who joins us every week to answer our questions. Virendra, thank you so much for joining us on the show this week. Let's get straight to our portfolio versus portfolio segment. So Srinivas is listening in. He's 42 years old. He's written in from Bangalore saying both he and his wife are working right now. They have a joint monthly income of 1.4 lakh rupees. He has a 17-year-old son. Now he tells us he has some income of 10,000 rupees per month coming in from property that he's rented out. And he has a housing loan of 12 lakh rupees which he wants to keep going for the tax benefit. Now, monthly expenses of 40,000 rupees he tells us, and health insurance from his company. Now, he sent us a list of his investments, and it seems like he has a very ULIP-heavy portfolio. He's invested in about 6 different ULIPs, and he has about 3 lakh rupees going into these ULIPs every year. And apart from that, he tells us he has no other investments because all of his money is going into the home loan and the car loan. But he now wants to plan for his own retirement and for his wife's retirement, and he wants to plan for his child. Now, he only has 3 years before his son goes to college, so is that enough time to start investing here? Where do you suggest he begins?
No, I think, it's a missed opportunity. Ever since he started saving, looking at the duration and the start of his ULIP plans, I think, it would have been a completely different picture. But then that is hindsight. But even then, if he badly has been misguided because getting this large collection of ULIP doesn't help. His goal is investment and, making his investment grow over the long run. So I think, the first step should be to get a reasonable insurance cover through a term plan. And because my suggestion to him will be phase these out altogether. Some of the ULIPs, it may not be as injurious because the ones which are over 5-year-old, I think, it will be worthwhile to methodically phase out of that and plan his exit from these ULIPs, and not in a rush because the surrender charges are very high even if you intend to pull out after 3 years but before 5 years. Generally that has been the case with the older ULIPs. And I would say that he just has to get aggressively with a very low cost trimmed portfolio, and he should target our balanced portfolio growth with stability. It will be a simple thing. And more importantly, he has substantial cash flows on a month-on-month basis. He should be on a programmed investing for at least 2 to 3 years, and the terminal value of all the realization from the planned exit of ULIP should also find its way there.
So he has 18 years before he and his wife retires, but he has only 3 years before his son goes to college. So should that be 2 separate portfolios, or would you recommend he just starts investing in one portfolio?
One will be that, by now if his, child is 17, depends. One, that he has a reasonable monthly income. So it is not necessary that he will need a big amount. And after graduation, if for higher education something is needed, then by that time I think the savings will accumulate to some extent, because the terminal value of these ULIPs will also be meaningful. He has 3 years ahead, so he should get started with a growth and stable growth portfolio, and eye his fixed income component from there on.
Alright, Srinivas, the advice going out to you: use our stable growth portfolio. 4 balanced funds in that portfolio should get you started off fairly well. And remember, once your son goes to college and you have an idea of what that expense is going to be, you can then decide how you want to tackle that expense. And of course, your question about getting a health insurance policy, aside from the one that your employer gives you, that's always a good idea in case you're changing jobs and there isn't an overlap between 2 health insurance policies. Get another policy for you and your family. Good luck with those investments. Write back to us if you need anything else. Let's move on now to our hold or sell segment. So Today, Gautam Wadhwani has written in. He's 40 years old, and he tells us both he and his wife actively invest their money. They're saving for their daughter's education and for their own retirement. Now, his current savings are 70 lakh rupees. He has 55 lakh rupees in shares and equity mutual funds, 10 lakh rupees in fixed deposits, 5 lakh rupees in gold, and 2 properties worth 1.1 crore rupees. Now, his aim is to save for his daughter's education, which will be needed in about 12 years, and his own retirement in the next 20 years. These are his mutual fund investments that he has sent us. He wants you to take a look at it and tell him if he's on track with these investments. Now, the first one on his list is the Birla Sun Life Frontline Equity Plan. Should he continue investing in it?
Yes, it's a clear hold.
The DSP BlackRock Small and Mid Cap Fund is the next one on his list. Should he continue investing in this fund today?
Yes, this one too. As it's a good small and mid cap fund. On top of it, given his time frame, he should have this these funds as meaningful component. So this should also be hit.
Fidelity Equity is the next one on his list. Does this fit in for the rest of his portfolio?
It does. It gets him a very different flavor and a credible performer. So this is also a hold.
HDFC Prudence Fund is the next on his list. It's a balanced fund. It's sitting right next to HDFC Top 200. Would you want him to rationalize the exposure to these two funds? What should he do with this?
Yeah, I would think so because, HDFC Prudence is 65 to 70, generally 70 and above in equity. And there will be a reasonable overlap with HDFC Top 200. I would say that, all the money going into HDFC Equity Fund Management, I think, is a high quality one. And for his kind of time frame, I would suggest that, he get rid of or discontinue all his money, all his investment in HDFC Prudence and HDFC Top 200 and just have HDFC Equity. Though these two funds are good, but that will be a superior way because his time frame and it will have all cap fund and it doesn't require a balanced fund. He should have his fixed income allocation elsewhere.
All right, so no HDFC Prudence, no HDFC Top 200. Move that money into HDFC Equity instead. The ICICI Prudential Discovery Fund is the next one on his list. Is this the performer that he should have in his portfolio?
Yes, this is a risky and a fairly rewarding fund. And his kind of time frame is a very desirable fund to have. He should not get upset when 2008 happens or, another 6 months we are faced with a bad weather in the market.
The IDFC Premier Equity Fund is the next one on his list. This seems like a fairly strong list, right? Would you recommend he continue with this fund as well?
Yes, this is a fund which is very impressive and more impressive when we see a very shaky market. It is a must-hold for the kind of market we have been in the past 2-3 years.
And the last couple of funds on his list are the Reliance Growth and the Reliance Regular Savings Equity. Now, there might not be an overlap between these two funds, but does he need both of them in his portfolio?
There are some overlap, but, Reliance Growth is clearly a disappointing fund of late. It's, look, compared to all his other funds, I would say it's not among the same class anymore. And has been not of the class for a while. So it has been a reasonably average fund. So I would say that he can get rid of this and continue with his Reliance Regular Savings Equity Fund.
All right, Gautam, you heard what Dhirendra had to say about your portfolio. Good luck with those investments. Write back to us if you need anything else. We're going to step into a quick break. On the other side, we're talking about the HSBC India Opportunity Fund. Earlier.